y'all boys, welcome back again to another video. It's your boy, Boss Enosch. You feel me? If this your first time here, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. Glad to see you. Let's go. So today we're going to react to this video that I have not seen before. So we're watching it for the first time, okay? And you know I like to talk. If it's something that's going to tickle my brain, you know I'm going to talk about it. It's called Gen Z Quietly Gave Up and Nobody Noticed. It is by a channel named YouTube gonna think I'm saying something different. Hold on. Fads with a D, okay? Not a G. Fads, okay? You just gotta make sure. Cause you know, YouTube be tripping with that demonetization sometimes, okay? You feel me? So look, he dropped this a month ago, 500,000 views, 60.5K subscribers, okay? So a decent sized channel. I guess technically that's a little small channel. He's almost at 100K, that's cool. He or she. But yeah, it's a 10-minute video. Let's see what he's talking about. I am very curious when it comes to Gen Z topics and this, you know, how young people are faring in this, you know, society that we got going on, bruh. Because there's a lot of things there's a lot of things that are changing, a lot of things that, you know, people are just kind of sick of how we're supposed to live life type of thing. So I feel like that's what it's talking about. Maybe. We'll see. Let's go. We're going to see. We'll see. I don't want to assume. Ready? Let's go.
So I went on Reddit the other day and...
Okay. I'm hearing a UK British accent.
I saw a thread that was quite interesting. The title was, "What's it like being in your 20s in the UK these days?" And even if you're not in the UK or 20s, I bet you'll be able to relate to the top answer.
Damn, bro, why are you so close to the camera? But back up, bro. Damn, back up, bro. You're like... I bet if you're in your 20s, I bet you can relate to the answer. Like, bro, back up, please. Back up.
Out for you. What's the point? I'm renting and I would love to buy a house, but what's the point? I'll likely never pay it off. I'm paying loads into a pension, but what's the point? I'm going to be working until I die. I'd like to see a doctor about some minor ailments, but what's the point? There's never any appointments anyway.
Woo! Damn. So I don't know too much about the UK. I don't know how the healthcare system works. But I think that's a reoccurring theme with my generation, Gen Z, and I think a little bit of millennials too, where it's questioning of the systems that we have, questioning of the society that we have. What's the point of doing these things if, you know, the chance of me being able to live a good life is low anyway? Why would I stress so much about working a job and working hard if prices for groceries are going to keep going up? If prices for homes are going to keep going up? Why would I worry about relationships when it's like, you know, there's so many people on this planet? Why would I worry about settling with one person? So there's a lot of that, you know, and questioning of systems is valid. Questioning of society is valid because the people that really make things happen, they're living life. They're making money off of us. They're like, you know, the top corporate globalists, okay, the top corporate CEOs, the people that run the businesses, they operate off of us, regular people, us workers, employees. You know, they make the shit. We make their stuff function, and you would think that means we have leverage, but they have more leverage over us because they control everything. They control prices. They control a lot of people's quality of living. So being a young person and a young person that sees their parents, you know, they work themselves to death, or they just to barely survive or barely have nice things or whatever, barely have a good quality of life in their eyes. It's like, you know, why would I want to do that? I just want to be me. I want to be free. I want to do whatever I want to do. So I understand where that comes from. Let's keep going.
If you couldn't tell, this is going to be a video that is brimming with optimism. But I think there's an important message to be made here. If you've clicked on this, I'm going to assume that to at least some degree you can relate to the sentiment that this user has.
Sorry. This is what I mean. They think everything is rigged. So it's like, if everything is rigged, why should I even participate? You know what I mean? That's what they think.
In fact, I came across a study that found that over half of young people agree with the statement that humanity is doomed. And if I wanted to convince you otherwise, I could tell you that child mortality has dropped by half in the last 20 years, or any other bunch of random stats, but I don't think they actually convey anything helpful for most of us. I want you to stick with me for the next few minutes because I think we can actually go in a more useful direction. And on the off chance that the random Reddit user FroyoFlashy6048 is watching this one's for you, bro. So the sentiment expressed in that comment is hardly something uncommon, and just like absolutely everything that my generation has done, they've turned it into a meme. The meme is called the Doomer. Presumably some of you aren't chronically online and aren't entirely familiar with the Doomer, and so I want to give you a definition as described by one of my favourite channels on YouTube, Pursuit of Wonder. The Doomer is an individual who's in their early 20s. He or she is someone who feels a sense of aimlessness or loneliness, and is consequently stricken with a deep despair for life. For the Doomer, life is meaningless, and the world is inevitably doomed by humanity's ignorance, greed, and futility. As a result, the Doomer sees little to no reason in engaging in traditional pursuit, and retreats from society into apathetic isolation.
I think that's what some the like crazy fringe incels go through. Thought process.
Now, if this description is at all relatable to you, as it was for me, then I want you to stick with me for the next few minutes, because understanding a little bit about why this phenomenon is so prevalent nowadays might give you a few tools in your arsenal to help you deal with these feelings. So, if I asked you, why has a generation in the face of these gigantic issues chosen to give up en masse? You might give a few different answers. Some of you might say something like this. Well, people these days just don't want to work for what they want. This generation has just decided to choose the easy way out instead of facing the struggles head on. To which I would say, well, why do we assume that giving up is the easy option? Let's try listening, and maybe we might reach a different conclusion entirely. I find it very difficult to say that doomerism is an easy way out, when it's not really a way out of anything. It doesn't relieve any particular individual of the stress and the trauma of human behaviour at large, and I don't think it necessarily frees you from anything.
It doesn't. I feel that's true. It don't free you from nothing. You're just not participating, and your life's still gonna be bad. It's not an easy way out. It's not an easy way out. It's just choosing not to do other things that are hard that will give you a sense of satisfaction once you do them or complete them, right? Like working, for example. Not everybody's gonna like working. Not everybody's gonna have a job that they enjoy being at. But once you get paid, that's a sense of satisfaction. That's a trade-off. You spent your time doing this, you got paid for this. So, and there's different layers to that.
Is most often brought forward by people from a different generation who fundamentally had a different contract between them and society at large. People who lived a large part of their young adulthood through a time of optimism, a time where it seemed like hard work would actually genuinely be rewarded. What I think we see when we look at doomers is a group of people who feel one of two ways: misled or powerless. It's a group of people that is bombarded with messaging that tells them that their efforts are futile. They feel like the contract between society and them has been broken irreversibly, and thus there's nothing we can do but resign ourselves. And so I don't think it's fair to characterize doomerism as a choice necessarily, as a conscious decision to give up and choose ease of life, because it's not any easier than any other mode of life. Rather, it's a mindset that one develops after losing the so-called naive optimism you might have as a younger person. And some of you might agree with that.
Okay.
Some might even take the idea further and say something like this. Okay, so I get what you're saying. It sounds to me like doomerism and apathy are almost like a rational response. Why would anyone bother caring when facing these issues such as climate change and retirement? It seems to me like the sensible, rational thing to do is to give up, right? And at one point in my life, I would have agreed with this. But lucky for me, you're allowed to change your mind. I would even encourage it. See, I believe that most people in my age group are genuinely passionate about certain things. We do face this issue, however, that we are constantly told that our efforts are futile. And in such an environment, the overwhelmingly sensible thing to do seems to be not bother. But I don't necessarily think that that's an inherently rational way to respond. In fact, when it comes to human behaviour, rationality is the exception rather than the rule. And I think keeping that in mind is really important when it comes to challenging thought patterns that can be unhelpful to you. The idea of rationality in human decision making was kind of the motivation for this entire piece, specifically the work of Daniel Kahneman, a psychologist who specializes.
Is that where the meme came from? I'm sure Obama's put medals on plenty of people. Never mind.
In that area. His most famous piece of work is probably the book Thinking Fast and Slow, and in it there's one specific idea that I
never read that book.
To share. I actually came across Thinking Fast and Slow in a bookshop recently, and it got me thinking about the subject of rationality. I'd read the book years ago, but thanks to today's sponsor, Shortform, the big idea that really resonated with me goes along the following line. When trying to answer the question, what do I think about X? You tend to think about the easier but misleading question. What do I remember about X? And how easily do I remember it? The more easily you remember something, the more significant you perceive it to be. When we're surrounded by information that's designed...
The easier you remember something, more significant. I think that's true most of the time, but there's some times where you just forget shit. You know what I mean? But I think that's true mainly.
To make us feel powerless, then naturally we resign ourselves to feeling powerless. But there is another thing worth noting, and that's that time and time again, the people who have had the most impact, the people who've been heralded as leaders of movements, have been those who've behaved in a way that's inherently irrational. Their behaviour would only ever really make sense in retrospect. Now, I'm not saying that...
That's facts. And when we look at a lot of historical figures like, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Fred Hampton, the rational thing is to fall in line, obey, consume, obey, consume, obey, consume. And then you get people that every now and then they come along and they say, hell nah, nigga, I'm not doing that shit. I'm rejecting it. And I'm going to fight for what I believe in. That's irrational. When people stand up and take a stand against something, other people look at them like they crazy. Hey, bro, shut up, man. Shut up. What are you doing? The irrational thing, and it's all based on perspective, the irrational thing is to fight back. The irrational thing is to take a stand for something that you believe in and push back against something that you see as unjust. That's the irrational thing. So, yeah, that's facts. I never really thought about it that way. Or at least I never put it to words like that. You know what I mean? But that's why people like that are one of a kind. And there's not many of them. And especially not nowadays where the defeatist nihilism thinking is more and more rampant. Especially with young men. Especially with young women.
He was going to be able to solve huge systematic inequalities within our lifetimes. We have no ability to predict the impact of our behaviour throughout and beyond our lifespan. What we do have an ability to do, though, is to commit to values that we believe to be true, and to focus on seeing those values represented in people immediately around us. Whenever the kind of doomer mindset tries to come back to me, I do remember the fact that, for the most part, most people will not be remembered for their actions. But that does not mean that their actions do not have lasting consequences. I would, for example, challenge you to name more than, say, 10 people who are actively involved in the civil rights movement. And yet, it took the collective effort of millions of people to bring about change. And I think that's true for any issue
that's true. 10 people? Let me try. Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Medgar Evers, Fred Hampton. Well, he was a Black Panther, so yes. But that was after, whatever. I'll say Fred Hampton, Angela Davis, Huey Newton, Marcus Garvey. I actually didn't even keep count. What is that, 7? Was I 7? Who else? There's other people, I don't know. Name me 10 people, I can't do that. I forgot, nigga. Look, even doctors don't remember everything, bro. They look things up sometimes because they don't remember. It's a lot of
people whose impact ends up affecting change are those who behave in a way that we would deem irrational. Because what humans would describe as rationality, I think, is more analogous to just talking about the status quo. We believe that whatever exists makes sense. I, for a long time, was a doomer, but I do think that things are starting to change. I'm starting to see the value of adding my voice to a collective, and accepting that it doesn't matter really whether or not that voice is actually heard. What matters is that I've made a concerted effort to make it heard within the people who are immediately around me. And that approach to life has made me a lot less fearful. Living by values that you believe to be true is the only power I think we have. And no matter how rough or how bad things feel like they're going to be, it's a power that you'll always have. So why not try and use it?
I like that. That was a good video. Pretty much, it comes down to don't let the nihilism get to you. Don't let the negativity get to you and bring you down and make you just accept it. Don't let it make you lay down and take the whooping, okay? Face down, ass up. Don't take that shit. Use your voice. You have a voice. Use it. You see something that's wrong, speak on it, no matter what the people say. But yeah, you could really think about a lot of different ways where you see that type of energy. You know what I'm saying? Where the irrational thing is to just conform and shut up. The irrational thing is to stand up and say something against it. You can see it in, like, let's say the black community, right? You're black and you see things that a lot that happens in the community that a lot of people condone or promote, and you see that it's negative things. Everyone just goes along with it. They don't say nothing because you can't speak on that. But when someone chooses to speak on it, you're doing it for a good reason. You know what I'm saying? But other people see it as crazy, like, oh, why are you speaking on that? Sometimes you even get chastised for it, right? Or let's say in the LGBTQIA plus 2S plus, right? Let's say see all the shit they doing where they putting all like the sexual books and stuff with in the kids' schools and having the drag queens dance, pretty much doing strip shows for little kids, like, bro. Or they bring kids to parades and have butt naked people running around butt naked, grown men butt naked. Like, come on, bro. There's people that, you know, you're just supposed to accept everything because we're all allies, we're all together, right? Saying something against the stuff that you think is negative, that's irrational to the others, right? But you gotta take a stand, right? You gotta take a stand. And the same thing with white people. Let's say white people, especially back in the day, were being racist and thinking that they're superior, that's the norm. And they're treating someone black or non-white badly, right? And then one white person comes up and says, you know, no, this is wrong. Well, guess what? That white person gonna get chastised by the other white people because what they're doing is irrational to them. You know what I'm saying? That's why they would say things like N-word lover. You know, I can't say because YouTube gonna demonetize me, bro. But you know, so it's a very interesting idea, and I like watching videos like that because it really shows you. I like diving deep into the human condition. All these things that we talked about is stuff that just reflects on us, the psychology of humans, the condition of humans. You know what I mean? It's very interesting. But yeah, I feel like, me personally, I feel like this message should go to a lot of young men. I think a lot of young men are succumbing to that doomer mentality, or nothing they do matters, or let's say if it comes to relationships, right? A lot of the red pill dudes, a lot of the dudes that watch Fresh and Fit, oh yeah, all these bitches are gold diggers, they're trying to come for my money, da da da. Like, come on, bro, like, relax. Let me know what y'all think in the comments down below. I think it was a pretty good video. Go subscribe to that dude, because that was a good video. I'm gonna check out his channel too. But yeah, I appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell down below. Join the Discord. It's in the description. Link in the description. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.